My brothers and sisters, I have to admit that this morning, when I left the rectory, it was hard to go out. With the single-digit temperatures, with the wind chills, it's a sort of day, except for the fact that it's sunny, that you want to stay home, in your recliner, wrapped in a fleece blanket, a nice warm drink, perhaps a cup of coffee in your hand, with a nice book or some entertainment. These are the cold winter days that kind of slow us down. Thing is that sometimes we approach our faith in the same way. We want it to be that recliner, we want it to be that fleece blanket, we want it to be that warm drink. And we want to remain there, swaddled, warmed, and comforted. But as Jesus reminds us, that's not how we live our faith. It may be how we begin. When God comes to encounter us in the midst of difficulty, in the midst of challenge or suffering, and he does console us, and he does comfort us, and he does heal us. But he doesn't leave us there. He sends us forward so that what we have received continues to bear great fruit. This past Sunday, we celebrated Gaudete Sunday, which is that moment we're reminded of the importance of rejoicing in our Christian faith. And that truly is the greatest witness we can give, the joy of our faith. Because all other comforts are external, but joy comes from within. It fills us, it warms us, and it makes a credible witness to others. Now, joy doesn't always mean that we say the comfortable things or the polite things to others. We should always absolutely be kind and respectful. But from time to time, God moves us as his witnesses to be that source of challenge, to be that voice crying out in the wilderness, inviting others to make straight their paths and come to that encounter with the Lord. That is why the church in her wisdom during the season of Advent gives the person of John the Baptist as our guide towards the joy of Christmas. John is not one who we would say he was a nice guy. John's life was too urgent, his goal too immediate, for him to be spending time telling people other nice things that they wanted to hear, telling them how good they were, how wonderful they were, and not to change. That was not John's mission. John's mission was to remind people that they settled for too little, to remind people that even though the externals looked good, their hearts were going astray. And so he preached, and he preached mightily, not seeking to cast down, not seeking to condemn as his primary mission, but speaking the truth, even when it was difficult and unpopular, and speaking the truth as we know, even though it would eventually cost him his life. He never wavered because he knew that fire which warms, that fire which, when we receive it, makes us a credible light in the midst of a sea of darkness. And that is what Jesus invites us to do today. He invites us to the power of his miracles, reminding us how many lives he touched, and in that encouraging us to trust in him, not simply because he said it, but because we have other credible witnesses that give truth to it. The first reading today from the prophet Isaiah also reminds us that this great truth we possess, it's not a membership card to a small and private club. The truth we possess, if we live it, not as a fleece blanket that coddles us, but as an internal fire that warms us and sends us forward, is a truth that draws others to come to seek us, to hear from us, to follow our example as we bring them to the Lord. The Advent season is a time of journeying towards that crib, where our salvation will be born and enter human history and transform everything. But we don't journey as individuals, and we don't journey alone. We are guided by God. We are encouraged by the communion of the saints, which prays for us and spurs us forward with their examples and their teaching. But as we journey, we also have to make sure that our example and how we live our Christian life brings us many companions for this road. That is our mission as disciples of the Lord, to follow in the Lord's footsteps. As Isaiah says, reaching out to many peoples from many lands in many ways through our preaching and example, through our actions and our presence, through our light and the darkness that will touch their hearts and move them from a point of comfort to a point of growth and true conversion. That is the greatest preparation we can give for Christmas, to allow our hearts to be transformed, to burn with fire for the Lord, and to invite others to live in the same way.